I've been working on an investment versus austerity paper for, I don't know, a couple of months now. And 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 there'll be a link to that paper in the notes for this video, and you're welcome to read it and comment on it if you like. I mean, it's the access rights are set up so that anybody can, in fact, comment on it. But what I've been puzzling is how to develop an economy model that represents what I found out from the research, though a model that's in fact simple enough to portray the things that I found without being so elaborate that it's unbelievably confusing. So let me go ahead and explain this simulation model, um, and there'll be a link to this in the notes for the video, which you can also go to and run if you like. The external loop here is essentially the economy. In the Some of these values are composite values to eliminate a lot of the detail that would have to be here if it wasn't. So employed represents the number of people employed and working, and the funds that they have available to spend, and they when they spend those funds, they in fact create demand for companies, and it's all manner of different kinds of companies, but the spending represents revenue to the company. Now the company spends some of that money for product or resources that they have to use in building whatever they're building, and that's for what I'm modeling here. That's essentially irrelevant, but that there's this portion of that demand that in fact goes back as payroll to pay the employed people. And if the employed people spent all of their funds to create demand, and all of the demand ended up in payroll to create employed, we'd have a very balanced cycle that is probably like watching paint dry because nothing happens. And I think I can in fact run that if I set all of these variables so that nothing else, if in fact, so that the employed and the demand are equal. They're set to 1. And the model is set up with unit values because I don't want to get all wrapped up in what the actual values is. I'm interested in better understanding the implications of the relationships as opposed to the actual values of things. So if if that is in fact the economy loop, the main loop, the employed and the businesses are in fact paying taxes based upon some percentage of their income and some percentage of their profits. So suppose that the income tax or the employed tax rate is just 10%, and I don't want I don't want to get into a contest about what the actual rate is. I just want to, or point one. Oh, point one. Oh, that's the wrong one. I want the tax rate, which is point one, and the other one is point one for demand. If I now go ahead and run this, what I find out is that the revenue or the resources that the government now possesses over time continues to grow because of the tax revenue, but the amount of money that's in the economy continues to decline because I haven't done anything yet, so the government's actually spending that money. If I now go ahead and set government spending to 0.2 and run it, it's again balanced so that the employed and demand are at a constant level, and the government level is essentially 0 because the government is spending back into demand all that they're receiving in taxes. So the economy is still is still balanced. Though now if the employed actually begin, if they're saving part of their saving or their income. Now suppose that they're saving um, just 5% of their income, and I run the model again, you'll notice that both the spending and the demand are declining, and the government resources are in fact declining because there is in fact an amount of savings being taken out of the economy, creating a reserve, so that it is in fact that savings is depressing the economy. If the corporation or the business side of this also takes out money for profit and retained earnings, if I can go ahead and set that at also 0.05, notice that it also has even more marked impact on the economy. Both of the flows continue to decline, so that the only way to offset this is for the government to in fact begin spending more money. So the government is now running a deficit, and the economy balances out to accommodate or balance out what's being taken out of the economy for profit and savings. And the thing is that if that balance doesn't happen, then the amount of whatever's circulating in the economy declines, and therefore employed declines and demand declines, as represented just a moment ago. If this was only 0.2, it is in fact declining. If the amount of profit taken out in fact increases even more than that, then it has even a more marked impact, and the only way to accommodate for that and cause the economy to grow is for the government to in fact spend more to balance out for what's being taken out of the economy, so that if we look at it at this rate, it is in fact growing, but the economy is simply still not growing substantially. I think this is 0.1. All right, so that unless what I came to understand from the model is that if the government in fact doesn't increase its spending to accommodate what's being taken out of the economy by savings and profit and things that are invested in places which essentially takes money out of the flow, then you're going to end up with a decline in employed, simply to get the circulation to balance. And if you specifically say that I want to induce austerity to balance the government budget, which is to say that the government only spends what it takes in, then what you find out is that the economy in fact declines substantially, and the budget still isn't balanced. Let me try this. 0.1. Still not, but I mean, it's you need to play with the numbers, but getting to a point where the government is simply spending what it's taking in fact has a marked negative impact on the economy. because money is in fact being taken out of the flow by savings and profit. So play with the different values of the model and let me know what you think. Take care. Bye.